Okay, for this video, we are going to go over parsing part 2. I think there's a couple of things with parsing that can be extremely useful for big data gathering. So the first thing we want to do is load up libraries. Right. So you can see I added a new folder here. If you've been watching previous videos, you know I've had the Big 10, and I created this data.rda file which holds all of my data of the Big 10 of these seasons. Something I did not go over is how would you go through each folder and get every single DVW from each folder and put it into a data frame or into a usable object. So that's what we're gonna check out today. It's gonna be dope. All right. So the first thing we want, we're going to create a function to create a plays object with all wanted manipulation. So we're going to get into functions, and I will explain what it means, and hopefully this will easily show you what they do. It probably won't easily show you what they do, but this is a way to use them. So the first thing you want to do is call a function, and we're going to leave it blank for now. And we're going to move that up so we can remember where we're at. All right, so basically when you create a function, you call a name, DVWs, that's my name, and then giving it an arrow, I'm saying function, I'm saying do something inside of a small bracket, and then in a curly bracket, and then in another curly bracket. So what we want to do is we want to get the paths and names of all DVW files in the directories listed. So each of these we want to return every single DVW. I only have one for each season, so it does not take a long time to parse, hopefully. And we want to go through each folder, grab the DVW, and do something with it. So again, we'll move back. So we're going to say DVW files equals list.files. So what list.files does, let's see, if we run it here, you can see that it returns these 3 files. If I do list files, pretty convenient. The name of the function is list files, and it returns a list of files of your current working directory. So the working directory we want, the path we want, is pack12. Let's see what that does. We're going to take that. Boom. Check that out. All right, that's great. But now how do we go through each of those folders? There is a cool little what are we going to call it? If you ever want help, highlight the first part and hit F1. That will give you this. Arguments. There's a nice little argument called, there's going to be a few of them we want. The first one we want is pattern. The pattern we want is .dvw. To be honest, I'm not sure why the money sign is there. Everywhere I've read has the money sign, so I'm like, I guess that's what we got to do. So yeah, you want that money sign. This will only pick up the files that say DVW at the end. Then you're going to say recursive. Isn't that nice that RStudio just pops it up for me? And what that does, actually, if you read pattern, yeah, it has to do, the money sign has to do with regular expression. So if you look at recursive, should the listing recurse into directories? So it's asking, should I go into the other folders that I'm also that exist here? Like, where am I? I'm in Pack 12. Should I keep going? Yeah, true, brah. Heck yes. Let's see what that does, shall we? And I think you can just put T, to be honest. All of a sudden, boom, baby. Look at that. It gives you the first folder and then the file. The next folder and then the file. So if I had more in each of the folders, it would return all of them. It's quite nice. And there's one other thing that we're going to want. There's this part right here called full names. And we are going to want that because what it says, if true, the directory path is prepended to the file names to the relative file path. So you want the full names because it's going to give you the path and the file name. True. And you can put T or you can do that. Both ways work. Both ways work. Excuse me. So as you can see now it brings up that Pack 12, whereas before. So depending on how you set up your environment with your paths and your project, you could keep recursive as false, and it would probably work. Depending on how you build it. Put together something. If you're going in through multiple folders to get multiple files. So for this example, we're going to leave it as true. I would advise leaving it as true. It's going to be more successful in the end, most likely. So, all right, we have our DVW file. So now if I just do this, but you can see it lives inside this function. So if I do that, it will just say function. So if I do this, nothing happens. But if I do this, nothing happens again. Because all I'm saying is, hey, there's something that lives inside this function, but that's where it lives and it's not going anywhere else. I'm not returning it. It's stuck in there. There's probably a way to reverse engineer it. I don't know how to do that. So what you need to do is, there's two options. You can do this, and then voila, or you can say return. Voila. So there's two methods for you. That's how the function works. If you're trying to return something, it will not work unless it has a return at the end there. So yeah, let's press forward. We want to read the files into a list of data frames by using the DV read function from DVWvolley, right? So what I'm going to call it is DVWs in list equals lapply DVW files DV read. So if you remember from the first parsing video, the lapply allows us to parse multiple DVW files. It's dope. So now I'm saying, hey, DVW files, this is your paths. This is a list of every file in every folder, perfectly given, return, hallelujah. And now I'm saying, hey, DVW read all them files, the 5 of them, and put it into something called DVWs in list. So while that's running, I'm going to do the next part as well, because that'll take a few minutes, maybe 2 minutes, I don't know. As you remember from the first parsing video, it returns, I guess it wasn't too bad, it returns a list of every match and its full contents of the DVW. So, or what's inside the DVW file, excuse me, either way. So, Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. It prints a whole bunch of stuff. So if you do like 100 of these and you like just run this by itself, it's going to sit here and print. It's going to be super obnoxious. So we don't want to do that. We want to combine the lists of data frames or the lists of the parts we want into a single plays data frame named parse plays. All right, so I'm going to say parse plays. And so this is where I kind of stray a little bit from the OpenVolley methods. Not by much, but just a little bit. I kind of learned how to dabble in some things that I like to use personally. So we're going to do something called do call. What does do call do? Well, do call constructs and executes a function call from a name or a function and a list of arguments to be passed to it. That's a lot of words. So, and it doesn't get any easier than that because I actually do some other stuff. This took me a while to bind together, but now that I have it, let's just do this. Parse play. So I want to say out plays dv. I want to parse plays out of the DVW files and call it out. So now, right, out. Okay, so so I'm saying our buy and fill, what that does, it takes those lists. We have 5 of them because we have 5 files, and it's going to combine it into one list. Let's combine it. Let's bind it. Ba-boom. And then after it's put together in one spot, I want to apply some DVW functions to what's going on inside that list. Actually, now that I think about that, I don't know the order of operations it's doing it in. I just know that it's working. So that's a little embarrassing. But I know this works. So let's give it a go. Sometimes not knowing how things work is not a great way to approach things. But unfortunately for me at this moment, I don't entirely remember. Eek. Don't know how my engineering works. It's not even engineering. It's just figuring out how to put things together. Ah, did not work. Boo. So that did not work. That is very unfortunate. And there is a reason why. Because okay, I remember. I kind of have a little cheat sheet in front of me right here. But that's all right. So I want to... The parse plays object is now holding the out object. The parse plays is holding what's going on here. And so this is not being returned into this function. So for example, if I just do it this way, outside the function, it should work if I run parse plays. Let that run for a moment though. So there you go, boom. Now you can see it's all there. If you want, distinct match ID, and we have 5. Okay, but there's some other. The main reason I like to do it this way is in the parse plays. Now you can start doing some cool stuff. You can say out date, and you can take the file name and put it as a column. So dv meta file name substring 21 to 30. I actually don't know. Yeah, that should work. So what I'm saying, so if we go like this, and we go meta file name. So what I'm doing is DV, but my DV right now is this meta file name, and that returns that. So if I go substring 21 to 30, that does not return the date. That is a good thing I checked that out. That is embarrassing. I thought it would, and it does not. So let's fix that. Good thing, right? So what the way substring works, if I go 1 through 5, it just all right, it just picks up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And that last one, 1 through 5, pack 1. All right. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's go 12 through 19. Let's see if that works. Two more. Is it 21? There we go. All right. So that's what we want. 12, 21. So now I have a date column, and it's from the file name. And I know the volumetrics files has a better date convention on the actual file name, if I remember correctly. So now we created this date column, and you can actually start adding a bunch of more stuff in here that lives inside the DVW object outside of plays. We're not going to go over that, but that is part of the reason I do this. I like using that file name for different things. So if you wanted to change your team name to the abbreviation, you could do that. But what happens if you do that if you get another team like USC and USC's University of Southern California, University of Southern California, excuse me, University of South Carolina and University of Southern California? It's going to not play well with each other if you just group by team and try and look at stuff that way. It's going to add those two unless you have some distinct value that's giving the team abbreviation a unique group. I guess that's not a great explanation, but that's all right. Here we are. All right, now we want to create a set. Actually, I want to do some data manipulation. All right, so I'm going to now parse plays lives inside my function as the as this. So now I can start doing stuff like this. That's interesting, but it works. So I'm going to group by set number, and what I'm going to do here is I want to know the number of sets 1, or excuse me, I want to know if how to explain this. So I want to know, so you can see at some point in the data frame here that this is a team, this is a team, this is a team. So I want to know if that team won the set as a 1 or a 0 value. That should be something, that's something we can do here, and that does not say group, that says GORP. And we're going to say mutate set1 equals if else max home team score is greater than max visiting team score, and team ID equals home team ID 1 0. So now I'm going to do this one more time, except this time we're going to go visiting team, home team, and team ID equals visiting team. That's a 1. Otherwise, it's a set 1. All right. So what I'm saying here is give me a new column, mutate, as in my previous videos, as I've explained. Give me a new column. It's called set 1. If the home team score is greater, or excuse me, let me restart that. I'm first grouping by the match ID and the set number. So I'm taking one match and one set. And then I'm saying if the max home team score, so the max is going to be the final score basically. It's going to be 25-23, 25-29, etc., etc. I don't know. I guess we're in 2002 men's volleyball, NCAA. If the home team score is greater than the visiting team score, and the team ID is equal to the home team ID. So I say team ID here because you can see, if I can go up, team ID, where are you? So many columns all the time. Ugh, I want to rename everything here. Team ID exists somewhere. I don't know where it is. There it is, team ID. So if the home team ID, or if the team ID equals the home team ID and the home team score is greater than visiting team score, return 1. If on the rows where the team ID is equal to home team ID. Well, that's what it's saying. And then the same thing for visitor. And if it's false on the visitor, if it's false on the home, give it a 0. If it's false on the visitor, return set 1, which is most likely home team 1. So that's a long explanation for this small part. Probably cut that video up a bit. We shall see. So now what we want to do is we want to ungroup because I am done doing that. And then I want to create setter position. I want to create a new column called setter position because here they have, if you look, select contains set head. So if you look here, they have visiting team setter position, home team setter position. I want a setter position for the team on the row, on the given row. So similar to the point scoring, if else team ID equals home team ID, return home setter position. Otherwise, return visiting setter position. And there you go. Now, if I say, just to make things clean, return DF. So from here, you could probably like put in some comments. Code to forget it. Too much effort. So now you can see I still don't have anything in here, and that's okay. I'll show you why. So if I do that and just say actually let's do this df DVWs. Now we sit and wait for the magic to happen. That will return the data volley, or excuse me, the data frame we want with the date column, the 5 matches. Return is not a function. Return. Wow. I don't know why R doesn't just like have infinite power. So now this will return the 5 files into the data frame object, and it will the 5 files, the date, the set 1, and the setter position. Actually, that's going to break. That's not going to work. I lied because I didn't do that. And actually, while we're at it, I'm going to rename grade equals evaluation code. And actually, I want to rename, when I do renames, I do like to do it that way. Block equals, oh man, what is it called? That. And so, and actually you can take off columns. Oh geez, stop that. You can take off columns too. So if I what the heck? Parse plays. So if I didn't like how many columns there were, so let's say, for example, the time, I'm like, I don't need that time. I'm going to take that off. So select minus time, minus video file number, minus video time, minus, let's see, evaluation, minus, I will keep player ID, even though I don't like it. Like special code minus timeout minus, okay, players minus custom code, because we could create that ourselves if we want the score difference. And if it's a back row player, front row player. Let's see. So you could go through and say, I don't want any of these as well. So I did it wrong last time. I forgot to name this parse plays into like something. Actually, a few other tricks that might be useful. Let's see right here. You could say like player name equals, what is it, lower to title string, let's see, string to title player name. That's a useful function too. Sometimes in the tidyverse it doesn't come up. You gotta actually, I don't know if that is a part of the tidyverse. It should be. Hadley Wickham, yeah, it's definitely a part of the tidyverse. It says right there, tidyverse. But how come it wasn't pulling up? Because usually when you run it, oh, it does. I'm just kind of slow. All right, no problem. You need that first part with the colon if there's discrepancies between packages that have the same function names. All right, now let's try this, shall we? And then let's call it straight. Oh, wait, sorry. All right. And then, so the main reason I'm showing this is if you end up wanting to parse all these like Big 10 files and they're all in different folders, you now have that ability to go through each of those folders without having to go through each folder one by one. So now check it out. As data frame, whoops, head. And check that out. Let's do it again. Let's see, I took off a bunch of stuff that grade. And actually, you know what you could also do? You could say filter is an A player name. Get rid of that nonsense. I hate that nonsense. Nothing against Ben, because it is necessary to have for some particular situations. So now you can see like file line number. I could get rid of that too. I don't need that. Like encone. I think there is a way on the DVW package to just say which columns you want. If there's, I'm sure there is. I mean, you're just selecting. It's the same thing. Although in theory, it's probably faster if you do it the other way. If there's arguments inside of the read data volley function, but that is necessary for petabytes of data. At that point, you should be using something faster anyway. end cone. I'm just looking for other columns you could take off. So these are necessary when you start doing deeper stuff. Team touch ID, that's sort of necessary at some point. And so, all right, I added the day, the set one, and the setter position. Cool. So now anything you add in your reading your DVW files, you can do like this. The next trick. This is the part I was going to show you. One more thing. So what happens inside this function? Let's say you got like 7 folders like that with different conferences or different leagues or different teams. We're going to say, we shouldn't say path because it's not specific. Path to DVW folders. Path to parent folders of DVWs. Path to DVWs. That's probably the best. So now what happens, this is how functions work, all right? Okay. So if you just do this, it will say error. You're missing the argument, path to DVWs. So what you need to do is specify a path. Otherwise, one of these folders, Pack 10, or excuse me, Pack 12 or Big 10. So if I were to say Big 10, I'm not going to run it. Well, I want to, let's do it, but let's change it. Let's say 1 through 2. So that way it's not taking forever. So now if I do this, it will return the first 2 files, I hope. I could be wrong. But the idea is, yeah, there it is. So now you can just go through, but let's see, did I take that off? Yeah, okay. So now if I do it here, oh, darn it, DVWs, pack 12. So now you just say a folder and it just gives you all the DVWs back. It's pretty cool how R works, how coding works. As you get deeper into it, you find more tools, more tricks, more ways to make things faster, make things better, and it's pretty nice. So yeah, this was part 2 of parsing DVW files. I'm out.